In a secluded monastery, nestled deep within the mountains, the air was thick with the scent of pine and the soft rustling of leaves. The master, a venerable monk with a calm and wise demeanor, gathered his disciples around a small fire in the early morning. The flames flickered gently, casting long shadows on the ground. As the disciples waited in silence for the master to speak, the master began, his voice soft yet filled with a quiet authority. My dear students, the world outside these walls is in turmoil. People are drifting away from the very essence that once guided their lives. Have you ever wondered what happens when humanity loses its faith, when the sacred is forgotten? One of the younger disciples, his brow furrowed in thought, spoke up, Master, I have often heard people say that belief in the divine is fading, that science and reason are now the guiding forces. But is this truly a dangerous path? What could be the consequences? The master looked at the disciple, his eyes filled with both compassion and concern. Indeed, when faith is abandoned, something far greater is lost, something that reason alone cannot replace. The heart becomes a barren land, devoid of the wisdom and compassion that once flourished there. What do you think becomes of a world where the sacred is no longer revered? Another disciple, more experienced and with a hint of sadness in his voice, asked, Master, if we lose our connection to the spiritual, what will guide us? Can mere knowledge and logic sustain the human spirit, or will we find ourselves adrift, lost in a sea of confusion? The master nodded slowly. Knowledge and logic have their place, but they are not enough to nourish the soul. We are more than just bodies and minds, we are spiritual beings on a journey towards something greater. Without that connection, without the guidance of the sacred, we risk losing our way entirely. He paused, letting his words sink in, then continued, I will share with you a story of what happens when the sacred is forgotten, when humanity turns its back on the divine and embraces only the material. Listen closely, for this story holds the key to understanding the profound crisis we face today. As the master began his tale, the disciples leaned in, their minds and hearts open, ready to receive the wisdom that would unfold. The fire crackled softly, and in that quiet moment, the seeds of a deeper understanding were sown, the existential dilemma of humanity, a cry for faith. Oh, what have we lost in abandoning our faith? In the vast tapestry of human existence, one must inevitably confront the profound crisis that arises when faith is cast aside. Can you feel it? The spiritual vacuum left in the wake of such abandonment isn't just a personal loss, it's a collective wound festering within the very fabric of our society. The monk's reflection, one of the main reasons why Siddhartha Gautama abandoned humanity was that most people no longer believe in the existence of deities and Buddha, strikes at the heart of this spiritual amnesia, doesn't it? When faith in the divine is lost, humanity drifts aimlessly, severed from the moral compass that once guided our actions and thoughts. Can we really afford to let this happen? The Dharma, those sacred teachings passed down through generations, becomes a mere echo, powerless to penetrate the hardened hearts of those who have turned away from the sacred. And what happens then? This detachment from the divine leads to moral and spiritual erosion, where the heart, once the seat of wisdom and compassion, becomes an untamed wilderness, impervious even to the influence of the divine. Is this the world we want to live in? A world where ethical and spiritual confusion reigns, where the sacred is profaned, and where the essence of humanity is gradually lost in the relentless pursuit of materialistic and superficial goals. The flaw in Darwin's theory of evolution, a revelation. Can we really trust everything we've been told? As we delve deeper into the human condition, it becomes imperative to question the foundational beliefs that shape our understanding of who we are and where we come from. Darwin's theory of evolution, which posits that humans evolved from primates, represents a significant departure from the spiritual understandings of human origins. And then, the monk's profound revelation, through my celestial vision, I have seen the truth. Darwin was actually a demon king who reincarnated into the human world to create chaos, challenges us to reconsider the validity of this theory. What if there's more to our existence than just random mutations? The acceptance of Darwinian evolution has not only redefined humanity's place in the natural world but has also diminished the sense of spiritual purpose that once underpinned human existence. If we are merely the result of a series of random mutations, stripped of any divine connection, what then becomes of our higher purpose? This theory, while influential in scientific circles, overlooks the spiritual dimensions of human existence that have been recognized and revered for millennia. Does this sit right with you? The monk's insight urges us to view the theory of evolution not as an absolute truth, but as a narrative that has been used to undermine spiritual belief. By reducing humanity to the level of animals, this theory inadvertently strips us of our spiritual heritage, severing the connection to the divine that has been the source of human dignity and purpose throughout history. Is it not more than just a question of scientific accuracy, but a deeper inquiry into the spiritual implications of such a worldview? The awakening of the third eye, a journey beyond the ordinary. Have you ever felt the pull to explore beyond the ordinary? At the core of human existence lies an innate desire to transcend the mundane, to reach beyond the limitations of our physical senses and explore the deeper mysteries of life. The concept of the third eye represents this yearning, serving as a symbol of spiritual awakening and expanded perception. The monk's journey, as he recounts, in the summer of 1991. I suddenly realized that I could see objects even with my eyes closed, and the vision was clearer than when my eyes were open, speaks to the transformative power of this awakening. Can you imagine the world he must have seen? The third eye, often referred to as the pineal gland in scientific terms, is more than just a physical organ, it is a gateway to higher consciousness. When opened, it allows one to perceive realities beyond the material world, to see with a clarity that transcends ordinary vision. Isn't that something we all secretly crave? This awakening is not just a personal achievement but a universal call to humanity to explore and develop this latent potential within us all. It challenges us to break free from the confines of ordinary perception and embrace the vastness of the spiritual dimensions that surround us. Are you ready to embark on this journey? This journey beyond the ordinary requires dedication, discipline, and a willingness to confront the unknown. It is a path that not all are willing to take, yet for those who do, the rewards are profound. The monk's experience serves as an inspiration, a reminder that there is more to life than what meets the eye, and that through spiritual practice, we can unlock the hidden potentials within us. What might you discover if you dared to look beyond celestial vision and its scientific explanation, the merging of worlds? Why must we choose between science and spirituality? In the quest for knowledge, humanity has often sought to separate science and spirituality, viewing them as opposing forces rather than complementary aspects of a greater truth. Yet, as the monk reveals, the pineal gland serves as a storage for all of one's memories, from lifetime to lifetime, and even contains information about the entire universe. We are reminded that these two domains are not mutually exclusive. Isn't it thrilling to think they might actually be two sides of the same coin? The third eye, or celestial vision, is a perfect example of this intersection. While modern science has identified the pineal gland as a physical organ with specific functions, its spiritual significance has been recognized for thousands of years in various mystical traditions. The monk's insights invite us to reconsider the boundaries we have placed between science and spirituality, suggesting that they are, in fact, inseparable aspects of a more profound reality. This convergence of science and mysticism challenges us to expand our understanding of reality. What if we've only been seeing part of the picture? It calls for an integrated approach that acknowledges the limitations of purely materialistic explanations and embraces the spiritual dimensions that science often overlooks. By doing so, we open ourselves to a more holistic understanding of the universe and our place within it. Are you ready to see the bigger picture? The connection between past lives and celestial vision, the eternal journey. Could your life be part of a much larger narrative? Life, as we perceive it, is but a single thread in the vast tapestry of existence. The concept of past lives offers a profound perspective on this continuity, suggesting that our current life is but one chapter in a much larger story. The monk's recollection, in my previous 2 lives, I was also a monk, provides a glimpse into this expansive view of existence. Doesn't it make you wonder who you might have been? the third eye, when opened, serves as a portal through which one can access the memories and experiences of past lives. This ability to recall previous incarnations is not merely a curiosity but a vital aspect of spiritual growth. It allows us to understand the karmic forces that shape our current existence, offering insights into the challenges and opportunities we face. What if the answers to your current struggles lie in a past life? The recognition of past lives also underscores the importance of our actions in this life. It reminds us that every thought, word, and deed carries consequences that extend beyond this lifetime, influencing our future incarnations. This understanding encourages us to live with greater awareness and responsibility, knowing that our current life is part of a much larger journey. Isn't it time we started living with that kind of purpose, the distinctions between humans and animals, the divine spark? What truly makes us human? What is it that sets humans apart from animals? This question has intrigued philosophers and spiritual seekers for centuries. The monk's assertion, humans are considered the essence of all living beings because they bear the Buddha's seal, provides a compelling answer, rooted in the spiritual capacities unique to human beings. Do you feel that divine spark within you, the presence of the pineal gland, or the third eye, marks humans as distinct in their potential for spiritual awakening? Unlike animals, who are bound by their instinctual nature, humans possess the ability to transcend their earthly existence and reach toward enlightenment. Isn't that a power worth embracing? This capacity for spiritual growth is not merely a biological trait but a divine gift. One that endows humanity with a sense of purpose and direction. The distinction between humans and animals is not one of superiority, but of spiritual responsibility. With the ability to cultivate and develop our higher faculties comes the obligation to do so. Isn't it our duty to fulfill this potential? The monk's insights remind us that our humanity is not a given, but a potential that must be realized through conscious effort and spiritual practice. Will you rise to this challenge? The truth about comatose patients, life beyond the physical. Could there be more to life than meets the eye? The phenomenon of vegetative states presents a profound mystery, one that challenges our understanding of life and consciousness. The monk's explanation, their physical bodies are unharmed, and all their organs function normally, yet they have no consciousness because their souls have already entered the cycle of reincarnation, offers a spiritual perspective on this enigma. Doesn't this make you rethink what it means to be alive? This view suggests that consciousness is not solely dependent on the physical body, but is instead linked to the soul, which can move between realms of existence. Could it be that life and death are not the absolutes we think they are? When a person enters a vegetative state, it may be that their soul has already transitioned to the next stage of its journey, leaving behind an empty vessel. This understanding challenges the materialistic view of life, which equates consciousness with brain activity. It opens up the possibility that life and death are not binary states, but part of a continuous flow of energy and consciousness. Isn't it time we expanded our understanding of what it means to live? The monk's insights invite us to reconsider our assumptions about the nature of life, encouraging us to explore the spiritual dimensions that science often overlooks. Are you ready to take a deeper look? The influence of animal spirits, a warning for our times. Are we aware of the forces shaping our lives? As we navigate the complexities of modern life, we must remain vigilant to the unseen forces that influence our thoughts and actions. The monk's revelation, prostitutes, for instance, are often possessed by spirits, possessed by fox spirits, which use this method to steal human essence, offers a stark reminder of the spiritual corruption that permeates society. Could these unseen forces be influencing us more than we realize? This insight into the influence of animal spirits highlights the spiritual crisis that underlies much of the moral decay we see in the world today. Have we lost touch with our spiritual selves? It challenges us to look beyond the surface and recognize the deeper, spiritual forces at play. The degradation of human dignity, often masked by societal norms, is a reflection of a much deeper crisis, a crisis of the soul. The monk's experiences serve as a warning, urging us to remain aware of the spiritual dimensions of our actions. In a world where materialism and superficial values often dominate, it is easy to lose sight of the spiritual realities that shape our existence. Isn't it time we took back control of our spiritual destiny? Yet, it is precisely in recognizing and addressing these unseen forces that we can begin to heal the spiritual wounds that afflict our society. Will you take up the call to heal? The Master's tale wove a vivid tapestry of spiritual loss and the consequences of abandoning the sacred. As his words echoed in the stillness of the morning, the disciples sat in deep reflection, their minds grappling with the profound truths they had just heard. The flames of the fire began to die down, casting a softer, more introspective glow around the group. One of the disciples, his voice tinged with both awe and concern, spoke up, "Master, your story has opened our eyes to the dangers of losing our spiritual connection. But how can we, as individuals, prevent this from happening in our own lives and in the lives of those around us? What can we do to restore the sacred and guide others back to the path of faith?" The Master smiled gently, his eyes filled with the wisdom of ages. "The answer, my dear student, lies within each of you. The world outside may be filled with distractions and temptations that lead people away from the divine. But the power to reconnect with the sacred resides in your own hearts. It begins with awareness of the divine presence in every moment, in every breath. Cultivate this awareness through your practice, and let it guide your thoughts, words, and actions." Another disciple, with a newfound determination in his voice, asked, "Master, if we carry this awareness within us, will it be enough to influence others? Can one person's light truly dispel the darkness of an entire world?" The Master nodded, his expression serene. Never underestimate the power of a single light in the darkness. Just as a single candle can illuminate a room, one person's faith and devotion can inspire many. By living your life as an example of the sacred, you become a beacon for others. And when enough lights shine together, the darkness has no choice but to recede. The disciples sat quietly, absorbing the Master's words. The weight of their responsibility as spiritual beings became clear, but so too did the hope and potential they carried within themselves. They knew that their journey would not be easy, but they were ready to walk the path, guided by the wisdom they had received. Finally, the Master spoke once more, his voice filled with gentle encouragement. "Remember, my students, the sacred is not something distant or unattainable. It is woven into the very fabric of your being. Nurture it with love, with faith, and with practice. Share it with those you meet, and in doing so, you will help to heal the world." As the last embers of the fire faded, the disciples rose, their hearts filled with a renewed sense of purpose. They bowed deeply to their Master, grateful for the lessons he had imparted. The path ahead was long, but they were no longer afraid. With the Master's teachings as their guide, they were ready to face the challenges of the world and to bring the sacred back into the hearts of all. And so, with a final nod from the Master, the disciples dispersed into the morning light, carrying with them the wisdom of the ages and the strength of their newfound resolve.